Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with a review of the Transformers Power of the Primes Deluxe Class Autobot Moonracer. Yes, this female Autobot has finally gotten a main toy line release. She first appeared in the episode The Search for Alpha Trion, where she alongside a team of female Autobots were raiding Shockwave's lab, and then there was an adventure with them on Cybertron. One of the team members, Chromia, got a toy back in Generations in 2013, I want to say. And Moonracer is getting a toy now. Leader 1 is also getting a Voyager toy in this same wave, but in the Wave 2. And then Nova Star will get a Deluxe toy in Wave 4 based on this mold. But Moonracer, you really need to know she is an Autobot sharpshooter and that she had a thing for Power Glide. So, but yeah, going on to the toy itself, it is a very long kind of a car. Like that's long. That's a long car. That's definitely a long car, almost reaching limousine proportions. But considering the back wheels are larger than the front wheels, I kind of like to assume this is kind of a Cybertronian dragster kind of a thing. So it kind of makes more sense to me in my head, though, if they are going for that. The proportions could have been a little different, but yeah. It's giving a toy, it's giving a figure that only had a basic robot mode with no, like, vehicle kibble anywhere, a toy. So it's doing what it can, certainly, but I will discuss more of that in the robot mode. But taking a closer look at the car mode, it is predominantly in this, like sea green color. I'm just going to call it sea green. I don't know my color. Someone correct me. Tell me what exact color this is. Is this like sea green? Is this turquoise? Whatever. But anyway, this like sea green, I'll just call it sea green, is the main color of the body, though there's also a fair bit of white going on in the back. You can see some more sea green on there. And there's also a lot of translucent blue parts here, and right there. The front of the car also features some yellow headlights going on. White section with an Autobot logo right there. A little bit of purple, a little bit of light purple. A little bit of light purple right there, though that's going to be her robot mode chest. That's why that's there. The wheels are solid black. There's a little bit of white there. The back is kind of gappy, and then there is the underside of the car mode. Yeah. While the front and the tops and the sides are certainly good, the back does have some visible hands going on and basically visible arms too, which is rather unfortunate because that's going to be an issue that plagues the limb modes as well, which kind of sucks. You just got her thin white hands sticking out of her thin wide arms there, just at the wrong angle. So that's unfortunate, but she does roll. She's got 4 rolling wheels and she does roll, though I'm noticing that she's got a bit of a turn to the left, and I don't know why. Granted, like, she does have a strong rotation here, and there's not a locking point for that, so maybe I just don't have it like lined up 100% straight, and that may be causing that. So that's just a thing to note. As for things she comes with in the package, she comes with the collector's card. You should know by now, every size class besides Prime Master comes with one of 12 collector's cards with the character profile artwork, faction, name, Power of the Primes logo, and Titans Return, not Titans Return, just Transformers Generations logo in the corner. But they also have different border and a different bio on the back based on one of the 12 primes that can be they can interact with because of the Prime Master gimmick. This specific Moonracer card is Prima Moonracer, who grants enemies 1 shot at redemption before blasting them. Jeez, that's kind of harsh. If I do say so myself. But getting on to what else she comes with. She comes with this nice gun. It's kind of like, just with the long barrel and the scope, it kind of makes me think of like a mini sniper rifle kind of a thing. Kind of got that kind of a vibe going to me, or just like a scoped rifle, but like she is a sharpshooter, so she definitely deserves that. It's got a 5mm post that can go into these 5mm posts on the sides.
Technically, I guess you can use the what will be combiner connection to just stick it up at the front, or you can use this gap back here and stick it in there. This ends up sticking straight up or at that kind of an angle, so it's not perfect, but it is certainly an option. And of course, she comes with some Prime armor. It's the same colors as her, the sea green, white, and some translucent blue for the gun / gap filler piece, which is also 5mm for you. And let's see if that actually fits. Yes, that can also fit into the 5mm parts in her car mode, and even that one as well. That's nice. This gap is able to fit various things besides the gap filler. Can fit Prime Masters, and I'll show that off right quickly with Vector Prime right here. Can fit Prime Masters, Titan Masters, Voyager classes, Enigmas, and Leader classes and Matrix cores. So you got a lot of things that can go into there, and this can connect to the vehicle mode. Of course, you can use the 5mm ports that are on either side, but the main way it seems to want to do it, I'll just stick the gap filler back in, is to stick it into the back, and just because of how it's designed, kind of look like she's got a turbo boost vent going on. This is very similar to Jazz's hand that he came with. I don't have it with me to give a solid. Actually, never mind. I do have it next to me right here. So as you can see, they are actually pretty much the same hands. They got basically the same hands going on. So that's interesting. Just different colors, obviously. But I'm going to say, I think I actually like keeping this Prime armor piece on her. Just because with like the whole kind of, if I'm going with the interpretation she's supposed to be a dragster and giving her the turbo boost, gives her some length, as well as like, it doesn't really cover up the problematic gap back here, but like, you know, looking from the top, it helps. So like you can just kind of be like, oh, that's just an underside problem, even though it's from a back issue, but like it helps a marginal bit. It is a little weird and blocky, but you know, I actually kind of like that on her. And then if you do keep that on, there are the 5mm posts in the thumbs, so as the combiners can hold weapons, and you can do that. So you do have options of what you want to do with your character's accessories. But that's all for Moonracer. Oh, and not all quite yet, because she does have Prime Master Interactivity. She's got a port right there and a port right there that can fit into the bottoms of a Prime Master, so you can have a Prime Master standing on her car mode. Now that's it for the car mode, so let's get into some size comparisons. So here is Legends Fast Bumblebee, and you can see how they scale. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome, and you can see she is a bit longer than Chrome Dome, though substantially thinner, which is surprising because I thought she was going to be a fair bit longer, just because of the proportions, though. Maybe it's just because of how skinny she is that she feels so long. I don't know. We've got Voyager class Megatron. Let's get that centered a bit more. You can see how they scale. And Leader class 6-shot. And you can, after I raise the camera, see how they scale. So that's all to say on Moonracer in her alternate mode. So now let's roll right along, get through her 2 limb configurations, and then get to her robot mode. So to get her into her leg mode, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these panels on the sides and fold them out. I'm going to rotate the arms up like so, and then we'll collapse these back in. There is a very small tab right here that's going to go into that tiny gap right there to lock in the arm. You gotta adjust it. And then this tab right here, that light green tab, the sea green tab is gonna go into that groove right there as well. So all of that locks into place. And then repeat on the other side. And there you go. And then we're going to come down here. We're going to untab the front of the car mode, and then we're going to use the double joint, the double hinge here and here. Mostly this hinge, but you do use this hinge a little bit to fold it up and get these tabs to go into those slots right there. It's going to be a little tricky to, sometimes it's a little tricky to get everything lined up properly, just because of the nature of the double hinge. But you get it, and you do that. And then I'm going to just grab a Starscream foot. Whoops, and I forgot. You gotta come, just the easiest way to access it is to move this roof section up. Flip out the combiner peg, combiner slot, collapse it back in, and I just screwed everything up because I was trying to secure the connection. Secure everything together. There are a couple tiny tabs that are going to fit into grooves in the combiner slot, so as that all holds together fairly solidly. And then you can come in, get the combiner foot, and there you have, oops, and then of course you gotta flip out the combiner peg, and there you have Moonracer in her leg mode. Just a quick 360 of that. I will say I do appreciate how this section folds up to make sure the leg is the correct length to be an appropriate combiner bit. Though these, like I said, the arms are still very problematic since they don't really hide. And especially since this becomes her robot mode chest, that's just kind of like half of her body is sticking out already, which is not a particularly great. The sea green combiner peg does use the ratchets very well, and does ratchet swivel there as well very nicely. And the combiner foot does everything you expect it to. It can rotate in the peg and does the ratcheted tilt. And then just one more runs around, and then we will get to the arm mode. And that's actually a very, very simple change. We're just gonna rotate this whole assembly around at that, and then fold the legs down. We'll move that gap, that section out of the way. And then when you're folding this down, you are going to hear it click into place, so you know that the second hinge is locked into place. And you can come here, fold that combiner slot up, just kind of leave things like that. Take the hand, we're making it a right hand. It can be a left hand as well, but we are making it right hand today. Just move the fingers and thumbs around and move the combiner peg down. And there you have Moonracer in her arm mode. And like I said, very, very minimal change. It's basically the waist rotates around and the lower section folds down. You still, again, got the arm problem going on the side though, since it's facing that way. Maybe it's not that much of a problem. But the thing that certainly is a problem is just this panel right here. It just kind of goes nowhere. It obviously doesn't tap in it because it's not going to bend with the rest of the arm. So I do kind of like to have it like hang off the back to be like maybe like armor or something, but it's a little weird armor, but it makes me feel better with like the range of motion. But technically the instructions basically say it stays right there, and it's just kind of like the lower arm is just half the car. So but onto the articulation. This still ratchets and rotates as it should. Full 360 on that rotation. And this is where this especially gets in the way, because you use this joint, which is her actual hip joint, to rotate the waist. So like this can be annoying if you're trying to do that. Well, this section can be annoying if you're trying to get the basically her biceps full. But she's got 90 degrees of bend there. and 90 degrees of bend there. She's actually got one of the best elbow joints just because her kibble is relatively minimal. Her excess kibble, I mean, is relatively minimal on the sides. And then the hand still rotates in the combiner peg, like so. Whoops. And again, you can make it a left hand as well. Thumb is on a ball joint, so you can do things. All these 4 fingers are on a singular hinge. And another thing I almost forgot to mention is that because of the nature of how the front of the car works and how the combiner post works for that, well, the 5 million post designed for the combiner face, the hand is always going to be at an angle from the rest of the body. Just so you're aware of that. You're never going to be able to get the fist to go straight down unless you like bend the arm back, which kind of is weird. Just kind of weird. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing you can do with this section to make it go back any further. So that's that. And then now let's get on to the robot mode. So we'll take the prime armor out, and apparently doing that knocked over Soundwave and Wheeljack, who are supposed to be patiently waiting quietly on the side. But to continue transformation, we're actually going to rotate this basically back into car mode. So as we can flip these panels out, then we'll just straighten the arms out while we're here. Because the next step of the transformation, it has to be in this rotation. It cannot work in this rotation. And that is going to be, we're going to fold this panel out and flip out Moonracer's head. And we're going to connect that back in. And then we can go ahead and rotate. And like I said, this bit does not have the clearance to move if it's in this orientation. So there's that. We'll flip the combiner peg back down, and we'll take this whole section. And then these tabs there and there, are going to go into the slots right there and right there. And it's on a double hinge, so you do have to, it does end up getting hinged down a little bit for it to fit in there, but it does fit. And then we come down here, we'll split the legs, or we'll rotate them at the waist. We'll flip the feet down, just bend the arms down, and there you have Moonracer in her robot mode. And what I was saying before about her, them trying to recreate her character model, like they obviously, that was their main goal, but then they had to throw the rest of the alternate mode on top of that. So biggest issues are you get a big backpack and then these weird wheel wells sticking off the sides of her calves, as well as windscreens on the bottom of her feet. So she's kind of a shell former, gotta say. Kind of a shell former, but like nothing's like because like it's not, they're integrated into the robot mode, but like it's nothing like properly integrated for like her cartoon model design. Because to make her cartoon model accurate, you cut off all of the car mode stuff, and then you've got her actual robot mode. So it's the chest is like make up some of like the top, but like she's kind of shell formery, just gotta say that. But taking a closer look at Moonracer, she does have a very nice head sculpt. That sea green, maybe it's teal, maybe that's the color I'm trying to think of, teal. Helmet with a little bit of yellow there, and there. A little bit of white rimming the border of her face on the helmet. A very nice like light purple face with a little darker purple lips and some nice blue eyes going on there. Upper body is predominantly the same sea green teal. Though not all of her body is the same sea green teal. If you can see, the lower arm and the upper arm are different colors, as well as the knees and the lower legs. They're slightly different shades. And normally, as well as the crotch and like the crotch part of that's the waist, and then the crotch part that's up here, you can tell there's different shades of the very similar green going on. And that doesn't make sense to me, because normally when I bring this up, It's usually because those different shadings is because some of the parts have to be painted and some of them have to be molded. But none of these parts, none of those green parts are actually painted over some other color. They're all specifically molded in those shades, and they are just slightly off. And that's confusing. That's really confusing, I gotta say. It's just a thing. Like, it's very minor shades off, but it is a thing to note. But getting back to the rest of her body, she's got a white section up here with an Autobot symbol right there. She's got translucent blue on her chest. She's got a little bit of light purple going around the bottom of that, and a little bit of white on like her actual waist before it goes into the blocky section in the back. And the crotch, you got the green, you got a little bit of yellow on the side. You got white thighs, green kneecaps, green lower legs with a bit of that light purple picking out details, which the paint actually goes all the way to the back, which is very interesting to me. And then the arms, they're predominantly sea green. You got some painted white here, and then you got the white fists here, which are very interesting shape of a fist. And then you got, like I said, the entirety of the rest of the car mode on her back. As for articulation, her head can rotate a full 360 degrees. It can look up, it can look down, it can nod side to side very strongly. She's got a very good range in her head. The arms can rotate a full 360 degrees. They are able to bend out at that joint. The elbows are ball joint, so you get a 360 degree swivel, as well as a greater than 90 degree bend at the elbow. A substantially greater than 90 degree bend at the elbow. Wrists, the only thing they do is fold in and out, so if that serves any purpose, you can do that. Waist has 360 degree rotation. Knees can bend that far forward and only that far back before you get into kibble territory. The legs can bend that far out. There is a knee bend, and there is a thigh swivel. It's a separate. It's like molded differently from the actual part that's the socket that holds the socket, but it does not hinder the rotation in any way. It just forces her leg to be out, but you're probably not bending it that way anyway. Like I said, knee bend. That's the main knee bend, but you can use the transformation knee bend to give her a double knee bend, so that's very nice. And then the foot can bend forward a little bit back, and then there's just like the faintest rotation of like ankle tilt. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a thing or if that's just looseness or something. So I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But as for accessories, she can hold her gun in her hand. That looks pretty good. It can also fit into the posts that are on the sides of her arms that were accessible in the alternate mode. And then if you want to store it, you can use the combiner slot that was used for the leg mode and store the weapon like that, though that's going to make her more back heavy. Granted, it's a light piece, so not that much back heavy, but she is still a back heavy figure. You can certainly get, and on the topic of that, you can certainly get her standing. It's not difficult. You haven't seen me struggling a whole lot to stand her, but you are definitely not getting certain poses because of that backpack. And before I move on to the primer, I want to say another thing. The arm ball joints are molded in the translucent blue plastic. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Just something to note. All the other sockets are regular plastic, but the shoulder sockets are translucent. But back to the prime armor. She's also able to hold the prime armor gun. The prime armor can fit into her arm to be a sort of a buckler, like so. And you can also attach it to her chest. You're going to use the tabs on the thumbs and stick them into the gaps on the sides of her chest. So you're going to do that, and then you'll flip that post outward so it's got proper clearance. Just got to get the thumbs straightened properly. And there she is wearing the prime armor. Yeah, so thick, so thick. But that is all to say on her robot mode, so let's get into some robot mode size comparisons. Here she is with Legends Class Bumblebee. And you can see Bumblebee comes up to like just the bottom of the sea green teal on her chest. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome. She's only just like a hair shorter than him. It's just a very small hair shorter. Voyager Class Megatron. Let's move them a little more center. So as you can see, just a little hair short of the stickers on his chest. Leader Class 6-shot. And you can see she comes up to about the top of the skirt panel. About the top of that skirt panel right there. And then, of course, here she is with the channel's mascots, Soundwave and Wheeljack. So you can see how she looks next to them. But yeah, overall, it's nice she exists. I really am glad that I have a copy of Moonracer for my collection. The toy itself, the transformation's kind of fun if you're going straight from car to robot mode because there's just a bunch of rotations going on, and I like that. I like the design of her head. I appreciate the effort to try to keep her screen accurate design. However, this toy probably would have been better served if they went more with an Elita route and had a mold to use and then base the character details off of the mold rather than making the mold off the character design a bit. And I haven't reviewed the Elita 1 toy yet, but I'm just talking about from the images I've seen. I think Elita works better even though she turns into a jet because she takes an existing mold and tries to make it her design, make it similar to her design, as opposed to this, which makes a mold off the design, which again, because of the proportions and the very non-existent vehicle kibble, is very hard to do. So I'm glad I have it. I enjoy it. It is probably the weakest of this wave, I will say that, but I still recommend you pick it up because I still quite enjoy the toy, even if it's not the greatest of the wave. I will say that. But that is all I have to say on Moonracer, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack's signing off.